The character of Griffith from Berserk stands as one of the most complex and multifaceted figures in both anime and manga. His portrayal throughout Kentaro Miura's dark fantasy epic is not one that fits into any simplistic mold of hero or villain. Instead, Griffith embodies the dualities of human nature. His ambition, dreams, charisma, and ultimately his capacity for betrayal makes him a figure of deep fascination, hatred, and enduring discussion among fans. Unlike most antagonists, Griffith's rise to prominence is not driven by malice or cruelty, but by a desire for transcendence, to surpass the limits imposed upon him by fate and circumstance. His betrayal, therefore, is not only one that emerges from a place of pure villainy, it is far more tragic, multifaceted, and deeply rooted in the core of his character's ambition. What truly sets Griffith apart and what makes his betrayal so devastatingly effective is the sheer scale of emotional and psychological investment that both the audience and the characters within the story have for him. His character arc is meticulously crafted, from his humble origins and relentless pursuit of his lofty dreams to the seismic shift in his actions that forever alter the course of the narrative. It is this gradual build-up, this careful and deliberate layering of Griffith's ambitions, relationships, and inner conflicts that make his eventual betrayal one of the most heart-wrenching and unforgivable in anime history. The layers of trust, admiration that his comrades, particularly Guts and Casca, feel for him are what make his actions resonate so deeply. Griffith isn't just a betrayer, he is a betrayer of ideals, dreams, and deeply held bonds, and that is what elevates him above the typical anime villain. In order to fully understand the magnitude of Griffith's betrayal, it is essential to delve into the character's psyche and motivations. Griffith is a dreamer, a visionary whose desires stretch far beyond the mundane existence that surround him. He does not seek simple power or wealth, his aspirations are far greater and more profound. From the very beginning, Griffith's dreams have always been central to his identity, driving him forward with relentless determination. But it is this very dream that also becomes the source of his downfall, as his obsession with it blinds him to the consequences of his actions, ultimately leading to his fateful decision. To grasp the full weight of Griffith's betrayal, we must also examine his relationships, especially with Guts, who becomes not only a close ally, but also a significant influence on Griffith's journey. Griffith's betrayal, in the end, isn't just a singular moment of treachery, it is the culmination of years of ambition, pride, and personal struggle. What makes this betrayal so poignant and far-reaching is that it shatters not only the lives of those who trusted him, but also the very ideals he once stood for. His rise and fall are symbolic of the delicate balance between aspiration and morality, and the lengths one might go to achieve their dreams, regardless of the cost. This essay will explore Griffith's character, his relationships, and how his ambition inevitably leads to one of the most significant betrayals in anime and manga history. From his very first appearance in Berserk, Griffith commands attention, not merely because of his physical beauty or regal presence, but because of the sheer force of his will and vision. He is introduced in the anime and manga as the leader of the Band of the Hawk, a mercenary group that rises to prominence through his unparalleled strategic brilliance and unshakable resolve. Yet, what truly sets Griffith apart is not simply his competence in battle or his tactical genius, but the way he inspires unwavering devotion from those around him. His charisma is magnetic, and it draws people towards him, not just as a leader, but as someone who embodies hope and purpose in a cruel, unforgiving world. He offers his followers something greater than themselves, the chance to be part of a grand dream, one that transcends the mundane promises of eternal glory. Griffith's dream is more than just a personal ambition, it is a vision so grand that it has the power to inspire those around him to sacrifice everything in the pursuit of it. This dream, to rise above the chaos of the world and create something enduring, becomes the driving force behind every action Griffith takes. He is not motivated by greed or power for its own sake, rather he seeks to carve out a kingdom, a place where he can ascend beyond any limitations of ordinary man. This aspiration, while noble on the surface, hints at the darker aspects of his character. Griffith is willing to go to extraordinary lengths to achieve his goal, and as the story progresses, it becomes clear that he views the people around him as tools, valuable insofar as they help him realize his dream. Even those closest to him are not exempt from this calculation. What makes Griffith such a compelling figure in these early stages is the ambiguity of his actions. While he is undoubtedly ambitious, his charm and seemingly noble intentions make it difficult to see him as a villain. He is not portrayed as someone who seeks to harm others out of malice or cruelty. In fact, for much of the story, Griffith genuinely seems to care for his comrades, particularly Guts, who becomes his closest confidant and most trusted warrior. Yet beneath this outward appearance of camaraderie and mutual respect, there is always a sense that Griffith's loyalty to his men is secondary to his devotion to his dream. His ambition, though admirable in its scope, carries with it the seeds of his eventual betrayal. It is this duality, Griffith is both an inspirational leader and a deeply self-centered dreamer, that makes his character so endlessly fascinating. His charisma allows him to mask the darker aspects of his personality, lulling both his followers and the audience into a false sense of security, but as we watch his rise to power, we are captivated by his vision, even as we sense the dangerous potential of his ambition. This tension between admiration and unease is a key part of what makes Griffith's eventual betrayal so devastating. When it comes, it not only feels like a betrayal of his comrades, but of the ideals that he once seemed to embody. The relationship between Griffith and Guts is perhaps the most important and complex dynamic in all of Berserk. From the moment they meet, there is an undeniable connection between the two characters, one that transcends mere friendship or camaraderie. Guts, a lone warrior with a troubled and disturbing past, is drawn to Griffith's vision and charisma, while Griffith sees in Guts something he has never encountered before, a strength and independence that both intrigues and challenges him. This bond quickly grows into something deeper, as Guts becomes Griffith's right-hand man, a key figure in the band of the Hawks' rise to prominence, but beneath the surface of their friendship lies a subtle tension, one that will eventually lead to their undoing. For Griffith, Guts represents more than just a powerful ally. He is someone who, for a time, believes he can control and mold to fit his vision for the future. Griffith, who is used to bending others to his will through his charm and intellect, initially sees Guts as another tool in his arsenal, a means to an end in pursuit of his dream. Yet, as their relationship deepens, Griffith begins to realize that Guts is different from the others. Guts is not content to simply follow Griffith's lead blindly, but instead he has his own desires, his own path to follow, and the independence begins to unsettle Griffith. In many ways, Guts is the only person who truly threatens Griffith's sense of control, not through force, but through the simple fact that he cannot be easily manipulated. The moment Guts chooses to leave the band of the Hawk is a pivotal turning point, not only in their relationship, but in Griffith's entire character arc. For someone who has always been in control, who has always been the master of his own destiny, Guts' departure is a blow that Griffith cannot easily recover from. It forces him to confront the reality that his dream is not as unshakable as he once believed it was. In losing Guts, Griffith loses not just a powerful warrior, but the sense of invincibility that had defined him up until that point. Guts' departure represents the first crack in Griffith's carefully constructed facade, a reminder that he is not all-powerful as he once thought himself to be. This sense of loss and vulnerability is crucial to understanding Griffith's eventual betrayal, where his relationship with Guts, once a source of strength and inspiration, becomes a source of a deep insecurity and frustration. Griffith, who has always once believed that his dream is worth any sacrifice, is forced to confront the possibility that he may not be able to achieve it after all. This realization pushes him to make increasingly desperate decisions, leading him to ultimately betray every character that had come to trust him. The bond between Griffith and Guts, once a symbol of mutual respect and loyalty, becomes the catalyst for Griffith's fall from grace. Griffith's descent begins long before his actual betrayal, during a period of intense personal and emotional turmoil, where after Guts leaves, Griffith is left reeling, his sense of control and destiny is shattered. His impulsive actions in the wake of this loss lead to his eventual capture and imprisonment, where he is subjected to unimaginable physical and psychological torment. Stripped of his power, his beauty, and his dignity, Griffith is reduced to a mere shell of the man he once was. This period of captivity is a turning point in Griffith's character arc, as it forces him to confront the fragility of his own dream and the limits of his own strength. The suffering Griffith endures during his imprisonment is profound, both physically and emotionally. His body is broken, his spirit is crushed, and his once grand vision of the future seems impossibly distant. For someone who has always been in control, who had always believed in his ability to shape his own destiny, this experience is nothing short of devastating. Griffith, who had once stood at the pinnacle of power and influence, is now powerless, dependent on the very people he once commanded for his survival. This humiliation is a crucial part of his descent, as it shatters the illusion of invincibility that had defined his character for so long. Yet even in his broken state, Griffith's ambition does not die. If anything, he becomes more desperate, and it becomes all the more consuming. The realization that his dream may be slipping away from him not only strengthens his resolve to do whatever it takes to achieve it, but it also makes his descent not just a physical one, but a descent more into moral darkness. As he contemplates his future, he begins to entertain the idea that there may be no limits to the sacrifices he is willing to make. The people who once followed him, the comrades who risked everything for their lives lives for the sake of his dream become expendable in his eyes. His ambition, once a source of inspiration and hope, now drives him toward a path of destruction. This descent is what makes Griffith's eventual betrayal so shocking, heartbreaking, and unforgettable. It is not the act of a villain who has always been evil, but the culmination of a long and tragic fall from grace. Griffith's betrayal is the final manifestation of his all-consuming ambition, a testament to the lengths he is willing to go to achieve his dream, no matter the cost. It is this descent, this gradual erosion of Griffith's humanity, that makes his betrayal one of the most unforgettable moments in anime and manga history. At the heart of Griffith's betrayal lies his ambition, a driving force that has defined him from the very beginning of Berserk. Griffith's dream is not inherently evil. In fact, it is presented as a noble aspiration, one that inspires those around him to strive for greatness. However, it is the all-consuming nature of this ambition that ultimately leads to Griffith's downfall. His desire to achieve his dream at any cost blinds him to the consequences of his actions, and it is this blindness that makes his betrayal so devastating. Griffith's betrayal is both his greatest strength and his greatest weakness, and it is this duality that defines his character. Griffith's ambition is not just about personal power or glory, it is about transcending the limitations of the world around him. He seeks to create a kingdom where he can rule as a king, free from the constraints of fate and circumstance. This desire for transcendence is what makes his ambition so compelling, but it is also what makes it so dangerous. Griffith is willing to sacrifice everything, his comrades, his morals, even his own humanity, in pursuit of this goal. His ambition becomes an obsession, one that drives him to make increasingly desperate and morally questionable decisions. The price of Griffith's ambition is paid not only by him, but by those around him. His comrades who have followed him loyally for years become collateral damage in his pursuit for greatness. Griffith's betrayal is not just a personal one, it is a betrayal of the very ideals that once made him a hero in the eyes of those who followed him. His ambition, once a source of hope and inspiration, becomes a source of destruction and despair. The people who believed in him, who trusted him with their lives, are left to suffer the consequences of his choices. In the end, Griffith's ambition serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked desire. His betrayal is not simply a result of his circumstances, it is the inevitable outcome of a dream that has consumed him completely. Griffith's fall from grace is a reminder that even the noblest of ambitions can lead to ruin if pursued without regard for the cost. His betrayal, therefore, is not just a betrayal of his comrades, but of the very ideals that once defined him, that once made people follow him. It is this complexity, this blending of ambition and tragedy, that makes Griffith's betrayal one of the greatest in all of anime and manga.
Oh, I track all my love.